to one of our events, whether it was a wedding, whether it was a political rally, whether it was an IPL match, whether it was a Taylor Swift concert, or she hasn't come to India, but one of the others, whether it is a G20 summit. And for the purpose of this presentation, I'm restricting my few slides to large format public events. When I say large format, what we're talking about is 50,000 people plus coming in for these large events. And that is where predictive AI works the best. What I have seen is AI is also fantastic when the data sets are massive, when the numbers are large, simply because AI can crunch those numbers into actionable intelligence in 5 minutes, which is something no human could actually achieve. It's a large industry. It's a huge CAGR. And, it is live arts, events, and entertainment. Now, I'm going to just roll ahead. But in my office, safety is important. I will share 2 minutes on that. Earlier this year, we lost 41 people with 100 plus injured due to lack of crowd management. This happened at Vijay's rally at Karur. I'm sure it is fresh in your minds. While we all go to stadiums to enjoy our favorite cricket match, and those are events that we curate. Last year, about this month, at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, we lost 11 fans. That was again due to mismanagement, due to fake rumors spreading, and this place where the incident happened was actually 500 meters away from Cubbon Park Police Station, but it still happened. Right? Next. The world's largest event is the Mahakumbh. This is an event which draws millions of people. Crores of pilgrims come and spend anywhere from a week to a couple of months at that particular location. And we have seen that almost every Kumbh has had some loss of life, some severe casualties, some incidents. A lot of this is again happening to, I won't say mismanagement of crowd. I'm just saying that the human force available there is not capable or equipped to handle crores of pilgrims. For example, at Amavas Rath at Prayagraj, there were crowds in excess of 50 million people. Now, what are 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 police personnel going to do there, right? It's very difficult to control fake rumors, fake incidents, to control stampedes, to control various incidents that happen. A couple of years back in Maharashtra, at that point of time, the Honorable Chief Minister had organized this Maharashtra Bhushan Awards at Kharghar. In a similar incident, we lost 11 people and more than 50 were injured. These are all government statistics. Some schools of thought seem to suggest that the numbers were extremely higher. But the point I'm making is, in my office, which is your playground, which is where we host these events, when people come to enjoy, when people come for an evening out, very often these incidents are happening. Next. Last two examples. Look at that street. This photograph was taken about a half hour before the incident happened in South Korea. And this was youngsters. These weren't middle-aged people. These were youngsters in the ages of 18 to 25, fit people who came for a Halloween party. They had been stuck at home due to COVID. COVID had been relaxed in 2022 in Seoul. There was this Halloween night happening in this small little lane. And suddenly you had more than 1 lakh participants who came in there. The resultant stampede that happened took 159 lives and 196 people were injured. This happened in potentially my workspace, right? And incidentally, the first fatality happened in the evening at about 11 p.m. But between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. that night, there were 39 calls that went out to incident responders, warning them that there seems to be a crowd surge, there needs to be a problem building up there, do something about it. The incident happened nonetheless. And the last, of course, is the Bataclan massacre at Paris. I just put this slide here because if you're from Bombay, we think 26/11 was the end of the world for us. Bataclan was at a scale 3x that. These 9 terrorists, they got into a stadium where the then Prime Minister of France was watching a match. They went from there and, spread their terror across 3 nightclubs. and then they went to a rock concert where there was this band playing. And at the end of that night, in 4 5 hours, 130 fatalities and 416 were injured. These were incidents. These happen at live events, live entertainment. I could tell you many more numbers. It isn't all that bad. I mean, we have a lot of fun at live events, but this is a murky aspect about the business of large format public events. So I'll tell you what our task was. Let's move ahead. So next year, we are tasked with conducting the Simhasta Kumbh at Nasik. I've put in a small little a few words there in red. A country will fit within a city during those few months. The population of Nasik, as per the census, is below 25 lakhs. In these 3 months at both these ghats, we expect in excess of 10 crore pilgrims to actually attend the Simhasta Mahakumbh. What am I saying? I'm saying that 10 crores is pretty much the population of, I wouldn't even say a small country. I would say a large country, a mid-sized European country, which is going to have to fit into a small little piece of land. They're going to come there, these pilgrims and worshippers from all across the country, all across the world. They're going to have to stay there in tents. They're going to have to bathe there. They're going to have to eat there. Has to be sanitation. There has to be hygiene. Then they're going to go towards the ghats on particular dates, auspicious dates. They're going to go in their millions. They're going to go in their crores to take a holy dip, because that is their faith. That is what they're there for. And this is the ground. This is that large number. This is the ethos of that particular event. And pretty much every previous Mahakumbh or Kumbh in the country has seen fatalities. So we know that this is there, and all these fatalities have happened. It isn't as if the UP government hadn't got the finest of the police force on ground, or the finest of the emergency responders, or the finest of first responders at these areas. I think everybody in the district administration was involved, but it's simply that the numbers are so huge, and the fact that sometimes crowds panic, and one cannot predict why seemingly logical or rational people, something triggers a panic, and what seemed to be a peaceful event suddenly uh, cascades into a nightmare. And there is no human power that can actually solve that. So we have to look at technology. Next. And yes, incidentally, at Nasik 23 years back, at one of the smaller kumbhs, they've also had a history of incidents which have been fueled by fake rumor, by crowd mismanagement, by overcrowding, by panic, which has resulted in stampede deaths. So the threat exists, the risk is real. We are working on a DPR. We know the problem, and like Mahendra ji put it so well, we know what is going to happen. Now, our task is not to cry and wait for it to happen and then say that, we didn't have a unified response team, or the response was lacking, or there were too many people. Our task, our case is to prevent it from happening. And that is where I will take the next 8-10 slides on the role of AI. Next. I've been given a very simple mandate, and a couple of my colleagues from Nasik, from Commissioner's office, might be on this call. Our mandate is, can we work towards ensuring a zero fatality Mahakumbh? Now, it's really tough because millions of these pilgrims come and they stay in tents, and they come with these kerosene stoves and LPG cylinders, and they cook, and fires happen, explosions happen. But what we broke it down into was, can we at least prevent fatalities and injuries due to overcrowding, due to stampede, and due to crowd management? And that, we believe the answer to that is yes. Next. So this is a part philanthropy. Of course, part of it is a commercial project. I also lead the New Avenue tech team at Rotary. I have some wonderful colleagues from the industry with me. There are some of them are acclaimed CIOs. Deepak Chawla ji is Chief Human Resources Officer at India's first AI university at Karjat. Dr. Anjali Malviya is a PhD. She's a professor at Thadumal Shahani College of Engineering. Her specialty is AI. Mangesh Balkande, he heads the WNS and Capgemini merger, at least for the AI transformation globally. A whole host of other names. Puneet Bhasin is a world-renowned, policy advocate on cybersecurity. So we've got a good team which has been given this task by Nashik Police to ensure that we put in place a robust system using technology and restrict our fatalities to the maximum extent. Next. So what we're going to do is real time. So what happens in such large format events is, one, of course, is the crowd analytics. What is the heat map? What is the density? How many people are trying to broach a particular gate? What is the load of a particular bridge? What is the load of a particular road? How do we get that data real time? How do we know real time if the capacity has been reached? How do you understand incidents? The second is the fake rumor, which sometimes spreads in such activities. What we've seen is, in real life, real time situation, if you have fake rumors spreading, कि यहाँ पे भीड़ हो रहा है, यहाँ पे पुलिस ने किसी को मारा है, यहाँ पे child molester देखा, then suddenly the crowd panics and a rational crowd starts doing irrational behavior. Fake news, fake rumors leads to deaths in such large crowds. No news. Supposing like what happened in Prayagraj, where the government chose to be silent for 18 hours, but in that 18 hours after that mishap, there was no news, so the pilgrims didn't know what was happening, and then that raises panic. Fake news leads to deaths, no news leads to panic, and we've seen that if you give news from verified news agencies real time, then that is very preventive in its nature. So these are some of the, I'm not going to go into all the headlines. I'm sure it's out there. You can see those, but I'll go into the highlights of each slide. Next. So yes, there are some global safety standards for doing live events. I'm a signatory, one of the first from India to the Event Safety Alliance. This is a conglomeration of professionals, engineers from the live events production. And we have our own system of guidelines, predictive analysis techniques that we use to provide safety for events, as well as a UK headquartered Global Crowd Management Alliance, which deals with certain SOPs. We have guidelines, we have basic rules and basic dictates and protocol to be followed whenever you are organizing a large format event. Next. So at Nasik, and for those of you who are not aware, it's just currently barren land by the side of a river. And on that land, we're going to set up hygiene, we're going to set up tents, we're going to set up camps, we're going to set up cooking, we're going to set up bathing, we're going to set up routes, we're going to set up lost and found. There's going to be a whole city is going to be created in that land for this event. And we also set up what is called the Integrated Command and Control Center, which will have a few functional areas. One, the image that you can see is of a secure operating system. A cybersecurity lab will be set up there. We'll have a press briefing hall where every day the press will be briefed. We'll have a social media monitoring bay, AI powered, because social media is where across languages, where news and information for such activities is shared. We'll have a video editing studio, because live on authenticated videos, authenticated reels, authenticated responses by the officials being disseminated real time, lifetime, is what can then dispel fake rumors, fake news. We can stop panic. Which can stop escalation of issues. Next. The architecture is very simple. There will be thousands of CCTVs which are going to capture all the key areas, the camping grounds, the routes, the bridges. These will be supported by aerial drones. These will be supported by underwater drones. All of these will be relaying real-time data, real-time infrared, real-time heat maps, real-time density maps into the command and control center. These will, there will be a series of live on-time analytics, happening, which will assess, because once you're getting feed from thousands of CCTV cameras and drones in the sky, drones underwater, the first level of analytics has to be AI driven. It will all be AI driven. Then it will go to human in the loop, where escalations will happen at a human level, and then so on and so forth. It gets escalated into the various command and control structures. Next. Basically, critical to crowd management, we need to understand real time. We don't need data today, which we will analyze, which will give us a result tomorrow. We need data real time right now. What's happening? How many million people are there at which choke point? And we should be able to analyze that, and we should be able to predict if there's going to be an incident there, all within 120 seconds. So real time population, crowd density estimation, entry and exit counting at various sector gates, because the entry and exit points, egress points are controlled to gates. Those tend to become choke points. Predictive congestion analytics. For example, the incident that happened at Karur, the incident that happened with the RCB fan engagement at Chinnaswamy Stadium could have been predicted. There was congestion building up. People didn't, there were fake rumors spreading. The actual congestion happened 4 to 5 hours before the incident, and 4 to 5 hours before the incident, had that message gone to the appropriate command and control center, both those incidents could have been stopped. Fire and smoke detection through AI-enabled CCTVs that can work in the day, that can work in the night, that can immediately pick up sparks, that can immediately pick up heat signals. Of course, facial recognition, because in such kind of events, it is always possible lumpen elements or elements who have got known criminal records or certain unwanted elements could come in. I think Digi Yatra is an amazing example of facial recognition for safe, secure entry. I think a lot of the events planners and teams today give VIP access and high-level access to projects, to events through facial recognition. So all of this will be put in place for Simhasta Kumbh. Next. So one of the challenges with drones is a drone has a small battery. It can last for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So we use what we call tethered drones. These have a UPS cable. They're connected to the ground. They fly 50 to 70 meters in the sky, and they can operate for 6 hours. So, once you have a drone in the sky for 6 hours, what happens is, on ground, when you have, it's a very basic thing, on ground, when you have congestion, and if you have 10 people standing in that crowd, because they don't have a bird's eye view, they are unable, they can just tell you that, there is a little bit of density happening, but they can't really tell you whether it's peaked. Unless you have that bird's eye view with that heat map, which is actually able to exactly count the number of people on that particular spot, and compare it to the analytics and the matrix, whether it's overcrowded or not, you're not going to be able to do crowd management. So these are tethered overview drones, in addition to the CCTVs. Next. We also have underwater drones, because sometimes lives are lost in the water. We've seen that the riverbed keeps changing shape. There are so many millions of people going in and so much material going into the water that we also need to keep monitoring the tides. We need to keep monitoring shifts in the riverbed. And we need to keep looking at, whether people are actually, so to say, falling into the water. So we have these highly capable underwater drones with night sensors. Sometimes, the pilgrims go on at 4 a.m. for a dip. So we need to be able to also track that. And this is all AI enabled. All the data feed is coming in. Thousands of data points are coming in every second into the main ICC command and control center. There, the AI analytics engine is using algorithms, is decoding that to see what is safe, what is unsafe, what is actionable information, processing it to the human in the loop. From there, certain decision-making architecture, like Mahendra ji shared, is then escalated if required into the required war room or into the required command and control structure. Next. Drones will also be supported by lifeguards, by boats. That is the non-tech part. But yes, we are looking at comprehensive coverage on the ghats, on the land, in the camping areas, on the bathing areas, in the sky and in the water. Yes. Wherever you have drones, you need to have anti-drone defense layer. Such large events, trust me, believe me, are very often also the playgrounds for unscrupulous elements, for people who are enemies of the state, who would like to, create chaos as part of their mandates. So any drone, anything that we put up in the sky, it's also effectively backed by a very strong, technologically advanced anti-drone defense layer, again enabled by AI. Next. Yes. So one of the key important things is, as I shared, fake news costs lives, no news causes panic, and right news can actually be preventive and can help us to, manage millions of people. Next. Now, where does news come? There are a plethora of social media platforms, YouTube platforms, digital media platforms. It is humanly impossible to be able to manage 100+ platforms real time to find out what are the keywords, what are the key phases, what is the sentiment, etc. Therefore, there are these hugely specialized, what I call OSINT, open source intelligence signals. Not that all these tools are open source. I mean, the data that they scrub from various platforms, the platforms are open source. We have considered cobwebs for Nasik Mahakum, and that is what we have recommended. These softwares do not come cheap. They cost crores of rupees. But in the overall context of the event and the good that it can do, and the speed and the efficiency with which its AI analytical engine can actually churn out and decipher data, it's amazing. Next. So it would scrub all your news channels, your digital news channels, your television news channels, anything in print, anything digital, anything on the internet would be scanned, and pretty much real time. Who's saying what about Nasik Mahakum? What is happening? What rumor? Who is lost? Who is found? What is the sentiment? Are there panic signals? Is there any phases which are deemed dangerous that are cropping up again and again? So all that is covered real time, because at this kind of an event, the incident is real time, and to prevent it, my response has to be real time. Next. So social listening, keyword monitoring, trend analysis, sentiment tracking is very important. Like what Mahendra ji shared, the sentiment will show you whether people are suffocating, whether there are crowds, whether it is getting excess long before the actual incident takes place. The sentiment itself will let you know whether ground conditions are conducive, whether there are challenges, etc. And of course, these can be isolated through geo-tagging, rumor detection. We'll have a live on-site fake news sifting and control and command structure to stop that dead in its tracks. And everything is enabled by cybersecurity. One of the functions is also fake news suppression. Next. Panic pattern analysis, all this is AI driven. Trust me, if you try to put humans on the job, it isn't that humans wouldn't be able to do it, but to decipher so much data from so many multiple spots, so many hotspots, so many choke points, so many millions of people coming, the Mahakumbh will be over and we will still be going through realms of data. That is why AI can do what Mahendra ji shared, even quicker. What to take human beings years to do, I think we do that in a couple of minutes. Yes. And yes, obviously, this will also be countered through regular, authenticated news and media outlets, so that very soon into the Mahakumbh, the pilgrims know what is the authentic news source, what is the administrative approved news source, and which news source should they suggest, because so many things will happen in such a large event. Suddenly, due to rains, one road will be stopped, then we will divert traffic to another road. Some car accident may happen, so we may have to close a bridge and do something else. Some VIP movement will happen, so we may have to cordon off a certain area. Some time may change, some high tide may be observed, some incident may happen, some fire could occur. 100+, 200+ people, kids would be lost every day, and thankfully, hopefully found every day. So all this information needs to be pushed out to these crores of attendees real time through various media channels, which would be a part of the control and command structure, and authenticated channels. I think we are coming to the end of this. Yes, next. So yes, the official voice, all emergency advisories trust me, no matter how good a task we do, there will be 50 plus emergencies that are going to happen in that year. Traffic updates, weather updates. Every day, people are going to be lost and found, crowd diversion announcements, public safety campaigns, multilingual messaging, so that because pilgrims are going to come from all across the globe, all across India. So we need to be, able to speak to them in their language from authentic channels. And all of this is going to be AI enabled. Next. Yes, and why it matters. And I'll read this line. A journalist who can get an answer in 10 minutes does not need to run an unverified claim. So when fake news happens, when fake rumors happen, when crowds of people are stuck in a place, when there is panic, and if the wrong news or the wrong spark goes, it can have disastrous, unwanted consequences. AI is going to stop it. And the counter would be to keep pushing out news from verified sources. Yes. Yes. So we'll have a lot of feet on street, a lot of digital ambassadors, a lot of people pushing out the real news narrative, linked, aided by AI. This is how AI and cybersecurity, OSINT, facial recognition, predictive analytics, digital twins. So what Mahendra ji said, we're also going to actually map out these maps, road maps and pathways at Nashik, so that we can create digital twins of these paths, and we can estimate on those digital twins what is going to be the capacity and the load of pilgrims and attendees that particular ghat can take at different points of time, so that we already have a model which tells us what we need to feed into the algorithms so that we can understand if overcrowding is taking place. Of course, IoT sensors, all the CCTVs, the drones, automated alerts, cyber shadow AI defense, biometric access are going to be parts of keeping Mahakumbh safe, Nashik se Mahakumbh safe, and trying to do zero fatalities. Next. That's it. Our objective is to ensure zero fatality in Nasik Mahakumbh. It is going to be a humongous task, dare I say, never done before. But we are going to try. We've got the right minds. We've got 6-7 months to plan for it. We've got the right set of people. We've got the right tools. The administration is behind this 100%. We've learned from incidents of the past, and we certainly don't want to repeat those. Thank you so much for giving me this time today to share this with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Vijay sir, to me, it was really eye-opening.
Thank you, sir. I have to come to you. I'm going to look at some of the tools soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, it is a humongous task. It is not an easy task.
Right.
It is.
So maybe participants can use the hand raise option. I'll
Yes.
unmute them. Meanwhile,
Yes. So
somebody else ask question. I have one question to ask both of you gentlemen. As I understood as a layman, data collection plays very vital role in these subjects. So how would one make it sure that the data the data being collected are the right one? What would be the do's and don'ts for data collection?
Vijay sir, you first.
Mahendra ji, you take that. I think
task.
it will be more relevant.
Okay. So answering to your question, sir, absolutely. Data is a very important or the vital element. Yeah, it is a fuel for analysis basically. When you collect the data or any person in the organization in terms of safety, I'm talking about, when you're collecting the data, even those data sets can be trained whether the data what is collected is right or wrong basically. That can be done with help of a prediction model again, or